I am Nigel Kelly, and I'm 13 years old, and my favorite holiday food is my mom makes amazing shortbread cookies that we call butter cookies.
Hi, my name's Rachel. My pronouns are she, her, and I like hot chocolate.
I'm Dean. My pronouns are he, him, and I have to agree with you. I really love eggnog.
Hi, I'm Olivia Burns. I'm 14, and my favorite holiday treat is probably hot chocolate.
What we do as a group is we work together to create a story arc that goes over the number of episodes that we're creating together. So all of our work is done collaboratively. We talk through what are some interesting ideas, what are some interesting time periods, what are some interesting scenarios, and we even talk through sometimes what are some interesting issues that we can weave into this. So we're able to tackle issues in a very non-confrontational way.
The dice will decide.
Yes.
The dice will decide so much of this. What sounds most appealing to the group, and you guys can talk through. Let's talk through, like, what are the pros and cons of each of those? What are you guys drawn to immediately?
I did really like the second idea where we're sort of like in the normal world and somehow get transported to the magical world.
I really like the idea of a magical world with no magic.
I agree with Dean. I like the idea of having a magical world too, so that we can create characters that have magic.
Like, what if it's sort of like the regular world, but like there's some magic in it, but not many people know about it, and then like we have the group who, I don't know if everybody wants to do the magic stuff, but like, what if we all had a little bit of experience in it, but then we all got transported to this world that was like focused on magic, and we had to try to survive with just the little bit of knowledge that we know on it.
What are some other ideas you guys have? What are some things you guys would like to encounter? What are you guys drawn to?
Well, I have read this book called The Land of Stories, and it's I kind of would like, it'd be cool to have it like that. It's basically like just like these brother and sister like going into this like fairy tale world, and I think it'd be like cool to encounter like all these like fairy tale like creatures and stories.
But we could have like half the characters be encountered in the fairy tale world or magical world. Like some characters, and half of them don't know what the heck no magic means, and half of them don't know what the heck magic means.
It could be that half the characters come from one world and half the characters come from another, and they transport to a third place.
Oh.
There's this book that I'm reading right now called A City of Bones, and there's magic in the world, but only specific people can see it, while the rest of them are sort of just blind to the idea of magic and think that they're just fairy tales. So that could also be an interesting way to do it.
Yeah, me and Rachel, we were talking about the Land of Stories, and there's some characters in there that are like fairy-like creatures almost, that we were talking about being almost.
Nigel?
I'm really drawn to the idea of like knights and castles in the medieval idea mixed with magic, kind of that scene.
That fits pretty well with fairies and wizards so far. The idea that seems to have a little bit of traction is that half of you might come from a magical world and half of you might come from a world where some people can see magic but they can't always see magic, and that we're somehow transported into the same world together.
I really like that idea, and I think that maybe if we go with that, maybe like the two fairies could come from like the magical, like the really magical world, and then like the wizard and the archer could come from like the non-magical world where there's a little bit of it. That's sort of what I was thinking.
I like it.
Yeah, I like that idea too, Dean.
What if the fairies both came from separate worlds, but they had been separated at birth? or some other thing, and
Cool.
they were just now discovering each other. Maybe something drew them together, like at a certain age they're brought back together, and that's what causes this rift.
So we blame the fairies for all of our problems. Okay.
I don't know about Rachel, but I think that's cool.
I like that, except for I'd have to kill Olivia.
Rude!
That's brutal.
There can be only one.
What is this? We're supposed to be a party. We're not supposed to be enemies. What if like the two fairies get brought together, but then the death of the one fairy is what causes the big thing to happen? Like it offsets the balance or something in some way.
That could be cool.
And so then we have to resurrect the fairy to restore the balance.
Me and Rachel were talking about her turning me evil too. She only wants me back to help her become evil.
Okay.
Wait, so what if we're trying to resurrect her, but like we're trying to like resurrect her to become like back to how she was, but then the other fairy is trying to like, I don't know, somehow make it so that when she gets resurrected, she turns back. The other question is, do we want it to be a happy ending, or do we want it to be a dark twist at the end?
Yeah, Rachel.
I think the twist should be that
I agree with Rachel.
That seems dark and twisted, but I like it.
While you guys were developing characters, I supplied Rico with some monsters and suggestions. It was fun to actually look at what you guys have developed so far, and some of it fits into existing D&D lore so perfectly. So right now, again, we have 2 worlds, 2 fairies. There's going to be some inciting incident that I'm going to put on Rico's shoulders to create that brings the 4 of you together in one space, whether that's one world or the other, or a whole new world. Oh God, I'll start singing that.
Sorry, I already did.
But yeah, he'll get to decide those things. You guys could encounter witches, ogres, wolves. Wolves would be interesting because they exist in both worlds, definitely. There's also this, in the D&D world, there's deities, and where they fit is people who follow certain deities sometimes have conflict with other people who follow other deities, sort of like our world. But in D&D specifically, they have 2 deities within the fairy kingdom, and they're sisters. One is Titania, and she's the goddess of fairies and realms and magic in general. And then there's the Queen of Air and Darkness, who is her counterpart, who is the goddess of darkness and illusion and sort of things that are destroyed. She's so not liked that people haven't spoken her name for generations, her true name for generations. And that kind of fit perfectly with what you guys were already building with Storyboarding. I like that we might have these 2 kind of fairy creatures with a magician. And I don't know where Nigel is leaning yet, but that gives us some pretty good ideas. A what? An archer?
Yeah, I like that idea.
I do think that definitely Rico and I should think around maybe having some little mushroom people that you guys could encounter at this point. I want to congratulate you guys because in about an hour and a few minutes, you've already arced a 3-episode storyline, which us adults, we take about 6 hours to do. So you guys are master storytellers in my book, and I can't wait to see the rest of the adventure.